Welcome to the Rat Race to 5 podcast, where we discuss money, mindset, real estate investing, and ways to achieve financial independence. Whether you are a rookie or a veteran needing new ideas for investing or creating side hustles, you're in the right place. Here to challenge you to think out of the box, your hosts, Felipe Mejia and Diego Corzo.
Diego, what's up, dude? We have an amazing story today, one that really brought me close to tears. Stay to the end, guys, because the story is amazing. Sebastian is going to talk about how he came to this country only 7 years ago, not even knowing English, then went on to this year. He's finally made his mark of $100,000, first time reaching a six-figure mark. 4 properties closing on or wrapping up his last one for right now, the 5th one for Airbnb. It's huge what he's done in 7 years, from not knowing the language to now on his 5th property.
Yeah, it's incredible to see his story, his journey, and how he started from zero as a dishwasher to working up the ladder on the banking industry and then quitting to just now doing real estate full time. It's an incredible story, and people are going to get a lot of inspiration from it.
Absolutely. So let's get over to Sebastian. But before that, let's get a quick story from our sponsor. Hey guys, the boys over at REI Call Center can get you a cold caller, a professional cold caller that can call up to 6,000 phone numbers for you a month. The price is $1,099, and that includes a whole bunch of systems and processes, plus a lot of backup and any help that you might need. If you are a professional in the real estate industry, you got to have a cold caller. REICallCenter.com. Sebastian, brother, welcome to the Rat Race to 5 podcast. We're super excited about your story. From coming to this country, you were telling me only 7-8 years ago. I'm so ready to get started with this, dude. But how are you doing today? I know you just recently had a baby.
Good. Amazing. Thank you for inviting me. Thank you for letting me share my story. Yeah, I recently got my baby. He's 5 months old. He's going to be 7 soon. 6 soon. And it's been a journey, an interesting journey, many things to learn, and I'm happy.
Oh, man, you can see it on your face. Diego, what's up, dude? How are you? I'll be seeing you this weekend in Arizona, but what's up, bro?
Yeah, man, I am very excited. We're going to be sharing a little bit about our story with Rat Race and how we work as partners. So it's going to be great. Overall, Austin, as always, is great. Life is good.
I love it. So, Sebastian, let's get started with you, bro. Tell me a little bit about yourself, what you do in real estate, who you are. We'll get into numbers and a deal and all that later, but give us kind of the background on who you are, how you came to this country. You said you were an immigrant earlier. Tell us about your baby. Give us a 30,000-foot view so the listeners can find out who Sebastian is.
Cool. Absolutely. Sebastian came to the U.S. 7 years ago. I was born and raised in Colombia. I moved when I was 25. I had an interesting, time there because things are completely different. I never spoke English as my first language or even a second language. I learned recently. So that was an interesting change that I took when I moved here. But back home, I was a interesting kid. I was a troublemaker. I was always in some type of issues, and I like it to have fun. I play a lot of sports and video games, and I always I work since I'm pretty young. I left my house when I was 12. So I work since I'm pretty young. But I always like to be, a happy kid.
Awesome.
Sebastian, tell us the story of how you came here to the United States.
I came here in 2015 because I had the dream to become a stockbroker. That was the thing that I liked the most. So my dream was to go to the Wall Street and work there. So after I finished my school, I moved to the States. And when I realized that I moved to Boston, I don't know why I didn't move to Miami. It will be completely different and I believe easier for me. So I realized that this place was cold. I didn't speak the language. It was really difficult. So I started working as any other person, and being a dishwasher, construction. I was a bouncer in a bar. I was a bartender. I counted once and I moved 10 times in 5 years.
Wow.
Wow.
Finding places to, live cheaper. In some point, it was funny because in some point I rented a full house on my name and I sub-rent the places, but I had no idea about house hacking and stuff
About
like
house
that.
hacking.
And the funny part is that in some point I also rented my room and I used to sleep in the couch on the weekends. So I Airbnb my room. But again, I had zero knowledge of what I was doing. I was just surviving. So
That's it.
yeah, that's how I came here. And then it took me almost like 2 years, 3 years to finally be confident in speaking English. I, I had to go to school while I have three jobs, and it was a commitment to learn the language. But I knew that I could do more, even if I couldn't reach my goal to be a stockbroker because this is really difficult. I need to go to school and all the stuff here. So at least I say, okay, I'm gonna develop what I'm good at. And my background is in banking. I always work in banks. So I was like, okay, I can be a banker. And I had to start from teller to branch manager. And that took me 4 years. Without me, I remember my first interview, I went to the manager and I'm like, I know how to do pretty much everything in terms of the banking. I don't know the language. Like,
Mm.
honestly, I couldn't say anything. My English was so bad, and I still make so many mistakes that it's something that I feel embarrassed all the time. But I don't know. It was a really interesting.
Sebastian, you have an amazing story because it goes to show like that you had all this experience, right, in the banking industry and just being able to, as an example, right, being in Colombia, being able to probably you you will go to work in a suit or something and then coming to the States and like starting from zero, right? And that's something that like a lot of our parents, a lot of us have done, to go from one end to starting from zero. um how did you feel through that process of like, okay, I've been coming from another country to now being a dishwasher and starting from scratch?
It was honestly a big impact because when I was in Colombia, I never had, a lot of money or stuff like that, but I worked hard for what I had. So I opened my first business when I was 21, and like the status of like having a business. When I
Mhm.
moved here, I was 25. I was like, oh, I'm the guy. I create this and I'm doing good. Once I face, oh, but I have to be a dishwasher. I need to do this. And honestly, it was a big impact. But honestly, what I was thinking is like, this is going to make me, learn and have the experience. And this is a path. Like, it's never easy at the beginning. It's always disorganized at the beginning.
Mhm.
But at the end, it started getting in shape. So I I face it with, I don't know, the biggest encourage or biggest fearless that I could, and I cry, I suffer, I slept in the subway once, I slept in my car for a month. It was really really difficult, but I was like, always, I'm gonna do it, I'm gonna do it, I'm gonna do it. My goal was, once I joined the bank, I was like, I need to reach a higher salary because I need to spend, pay my expenses. I help my family
Mhm.
in Colombia. So I do my best. I needed to make money. So I wasn't even thinking, how do I feel? I'm like, I have no choice. I have to
Mhm.
do this.
Did you say, could you say that you have a strong why back then that actually helped you push through those tough times? What was that why for you?
Yeah, now that I learned with you guys the why and the reason behind, yes, I believe that's what keep me motivated. My why was always to support my family. That was my why. At the time, I didn't have a kid or anything. I wasn't married, but that was my why. I always wanted to see my brother, my sister, my mom in a better situation. I'm like, okay, I'll do it for them, and no matter what it takes, I'll do it. I'm young. I always, as a banker and as my background, I always like to take risk, and I'm really a risk person, a risky person. I don't know how to say that. And I say this risk is doable because I'm still young. I can do it. I can suffer and a little bit, but I'm not gonna do that to my mom, which is like almost 60 something, she already did what she had to do. She shouldn't be working for my college, for my responsibilities. That should be me.
Hmm.
So that's why I did what I did.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
that's interesting, Sebastian, because a lot of us I know a lot of people that listen to this podcast are like first generation immigrants, or like our parents came to this country and then, we did what we had to do, but we've been here young. Sebastian, how long have you been in the States now?
Almost 7 years.
Almost 7 years, and you've accomplished so much in so little time. I know you personally as a friend, as a mentee in Rat Race, as a client. I mean, there's a lot of things that I know about you, and it's interesting because it sounds like it took me 30 years to get to where I'm at. It took Diego. I don't know when did you come to this country, Diego?
I was 9 years old, so 22
9 years
years
old.
ago.
So Diego's got 20 something years on you. Sebastian, you've been here for 6.5. And what you've accomplished is nothing short of a miracle and amazing. I honestly don't believe you give yourself enough credit. And I'm excited to hear the rest of your story. But before we keep going, I can already see and smell and feel the entrepreneur spirit on you because of what you're talking about. But can you give us more insight into how you went up the ranks in the banking industry, especially without being solid in the English language? Like, how did you move up the ranks? Tell us some stories about that.
That was interesting. I had to take this English as second language classes. I found them at night. So I used to work during the day and 2 jobs, and they go to school at night. And this is a little bit interesting about the story, but it was a lot of Latinos. A lot of people, immigrants from other countries and everything, but the majority were Latinos who speak Spanish.
Yeah.
And it's the first time where like I said, I was not a good student, never. I was never in the first chair of the classroom or anything like that. But when I joined that, I
Diego
honestly
was.
put my headphones. Yeah. Yeah. I put my headphones and I say, I'm sorry, guys, but I'm not interested in creating any relationship with you. And that made me feel so bad as a person. But I was like, I know how you speak. I know that we can communicate. Even if it's someone from other country that we both don't speak Spanish, that was my goal. So it was difficult. It took me, I could open many doors and opportunities meeting other people, but I was focused. I say I needed to learn English. I delete everything in Spanish on my phone, all the music. I listened to NPR news for years, every single day, because my goal was to understand when they say the time. It is 7 a.m. in the morning when I was in the train. And I'm like, oh, now I'm understanding. So focus was my main point on that. And through that, they taught us, or they were teaching us how to do our resume. So when I passed my resume, someone saw it and said like, oh, you have experience. Like usually we try to help the people who has degrees. So bankers, lawyers, nurses, doctors. So they put me in another program where they sponsor me to teach me English as a second language, but more like going to school and learning how to write and everything. And then from that place, it's not little, sorry, for that place, they have a program called Banking and Finance. So I joined that because I had the knowledge. I just needed to learn the language. So in 6 months, a recruiter went there, and the teacher said like, you have to talk to this guy. They happily gave me a job, and I started being a teller. And exactly 2 years in the same month, I remember this, May 1st, 2017, I was a teller for the first time. I got hired. And last November 2021, I quit my job being as a branch manager. So it was amazing. I learned a lot. I was scared. I used to call my brother and say like, I don't know how to count the money. Like, how am I call myself a banker and I don't know how to count the bills? Like because the currency is different. I never count in English. It sounds funny, but I'm like, I'm pretty good in math, but I don't know how to do math in English. Like, how do you say por, más, menos? I don't know. I never learned that in English. So believe me, I was sure many times in the teller line. But the good thing that I did is I created good relationships. I was good with clients. I connected with people, and my Spanish gave me my other, like, the part of the story. Like, that gave me the ability to really deep down into good conversations, good people. I start selling products, and I've done that before, forever. So it got me like really quick until I passed from, teller to salesperson to assistant manager to branch manager. It was a really interesting learning curve.
Sebastian, I feel like I'm going to do this whole freaking podcast. I want to congratulate you on that, just because like going up the ranks isn't easy. Not knowing the language makes it harder. Plus you like not understanding. Yeah. I mean, it makes it really hard, but there's two things that I want people to listen to based on what you just said. When you went to your English class, you weren't there to make friends. You put your head down, you weathered the storm, and you got through it, and you learned as much as possible. I feel like a lot of times people get into this game to take a cute picture for Instagram, and we're talking about real estate now in my end. People take a cute picture for Instagram, go to events for the flashy lights and the mirrors, and they're not actually there learning, even though the opportunities are there for you to learn and make a lot of money. Sebastian, you went into this class, you put your head down, you said, I'm not here to make friends, I'm here for an objective, and that's what I'm going to do. And then the second thing I'm listening to is you did pick your head up to talk and make relationships in the right position. Now you're at the bank, and now you're creating clients, relationships, and business opportunities at the right time. And I feel like a lot of people, Sebastian, fail at this, where they don't know when, where is the right time to do those things. They want to build a relationship with somebody at an event when you're there to learn. In my opinion, go to an event, learn, take a picture with the person you want to network with, and later send them a DM on IG, right? Like, you have to know when and where is the right place. I'll never forget, oh God, what is the comedian's name? He always plays with The Rock, the short black guy. Do you guys know who I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Kevin Hart.
Kevin Hart.
Kevin Hart once said in an interview that he met Jeff Bezos, and Jeff Bezos was like, oh, you're a comedian, I know you. And he said, I know I want to talk to you, and I know this isn't the right time. Can we take a picture and I'll talk to you later? And that has always stuck with me as a great way to network. He had the opportunity to talk to Jeff Bezos in that room, and he didn't, because he knew at that event, at that place, in that time, it wasn't the right time and it wasn't the right place to make a relationship. But he took advantage of just a small situation and then moved forward. So when Sebastian, when you said that you were in the class, but you were like, I'm going to focus, I know what I'm here to do. And then when you were at work, you knew there that that was the place to start making relationships, to move up in the banking industry, to get to where you're at now. So kudos to you, because whether you know it or not, those are perfect tactics to get ahead, which is why it's no surprise that you are where you are now.
Yeah.
So, Sebastian, what was your transition, or when did you start getting into real estate?
It's actually, that's really connected with just what Felipe just said, because through my connections in the bank, I met my first partner, which today we're partners in business, but at that time we were friends. And we always were talking about how to make money and extra money. And, I was working in the bank, but I was still working at nights and other places. So I was like, I need to get something. My stock market was my number one priority always, but I didn't have the capital. I needed to put a lot of more time to learn, and I couldn't learn at that time. I was learning the English and surviving, and like, I know I'm gonna fail on this if I start. So when I came across with one of I believe it was Brandon video, and I'm like, oh, this is cool. I want to learn more, and I want to learn more. In 2019, I believe, December 1st, January 1st, 2019, when you do the cheers, I told my wife, we're going to end up the year with 2 houses. We have no money, but we're going to end up with 2 houses. She's like, okay, sure, go and do it. I don't know how, but that year I ate so many books, podcasts, you guys' content, everything. I was like, I'm here to learn. And I brought my friend from the banking industry, and I say, you have the money, you have the credit, you have everything. I'll find you a deal. And I start analyzing deals over and over and over and over and over until I got his attention and said, like, okay, let's do it. Honestly, I bought my 2-3 first houses without me even putting money. I pay him later. And why? Because I was doing what you guys been telling for so long. Find a way. I didn't have the credit because, as you know, my credit is not the best. I just start building it. I didn't have the money. I didn't have, the knowledge. many times people say here, oh, I'm buying a house in Ohio. And I'm like, where is Ohio? I have no idea.
Sorry, that was funny. I'm sorry. I did not mean to laugh out loud, but I do that sometimes too. So keep going. Don't mind me.
So I put everything that person needed on the table for us to be partners, and then we start buying houses. So 2019, I started learning as much as I could. I closed my first property in September 2019, and from that, I joined you guys the year after, and it's been an amazing journey.
There's so much to unpack in that little comment, that paragraph that you just spoke. Sebastian, let's go back to when you met your partner at the bank. Were you looking, and just yes or no, were you actively looking for a partner or not? No? Okay. So that's where I love this story, because I always tell people, like, work on yourself before you try to find a partner. And we're going to talk about this in Arizona at the conference that Diego and I are going to speak at. But like, you were focused. God, dude, this brings me freaking chills. You were working on your English. You were working in the bank. You were working on moving up the ranks. You were working on yourself to be an opportunity for a great partner. You weren't actively looking for an opportunity. You were becoming the opportunity for someone else. And that is what creates a great relationship. Diego and I have a great relationship because, in my opinion, I consistently try to bring opportunities that are good for Diego with time, wealth, finances, everything, right? And that's what you were doing. You were bettering yourself the best that you can, learning, devouring books and podcasts, so that when that opportunity came about for you to be a good partner with somebody, it just became a natural thing that happened. So that's huge that's what happened. And then the second thing is, you didn't create or allow yourself an excuse. Sebastian, I honestly believe that because like you and the friends around me and my mom and my family were immigrants, we don't have a plan B. Like, what are you going to fall back on? You were sleeping on your couch and you were renting out a room. Like, you can't get low. You know what I'm saying? Like, go back to your country? That's not going to happen. It is why you're going to be successful, because you don't have a plan B. And now you've worked on yourself and you've brought this opportunity to your partner, and you've created this environment where success can happen because you've worked on yourself, and not, oh, well, I'm going to go find a partner that can do better for me, versus you bring an opportunity to your partner and then not allowing yourself to have an excuse of no money, no credit, the language. You don't even know where Ohio is. I don't think I could point Ohio on a map to you. Diego, you could probably, but like, you didn't allow yourself an excuse, Sebastian, and you were like, I don't have money, I don't have this, but you know what I do have? I have knowledge that I can leverage towards a partner that maybe has more time, money, or the things that I don't have. I'm going to leverage that, and he's going to be able to leverage, or she's going to be able to leverage my knowledge on real estate with finding the opportunities. Diego is really good at this as well, right? He brings a special gift into partnerships. And I think that those are some of the best partnerships that happen. So, Sebastian, moving forward, tell us, I don't want to skip too far ahead in the story, but tell us how that partnership grew, and what were some of the strengths and weaknesses that you guys had? How did you guys know that it was going to work? And you said you're still business partners to this day.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's we've been learning a lot, because it's different to being friends and then become a business partners. Yeah, right. So when we were friends, yeah, it's nice that we share personal stuff and we talk about different things. But when you're business partner, you need to learn, as you mentioned, what do you have and what the other person don't have. Many times we discover that we have pretty much the same. So it's been more, we work towards the same goal. So we need to learn how to do other type of things, which we definitely call it like the foundation of the business. But the partnership has been teaching me how to understand the other person, how to, establish a good relationship without breaking or overpassing certain boundaries. And I think that's really important when you create a partnership. You need to know what exactly your goal is.
Yeah, exactly. One of the things that I noticed to have a successful relationship or business partnership, which that's what it is, it's a relationship, it's a friendship, is how is this going to positively affect the other person? And am I looking out for their best interest or just my own? Obviously, it has to be mutually beneficial in a partnership. But like, should I be hiring an employee, or am I looking for a partner? And a lot of the times, I think people get into a business partnership and treat their partner as an employee versus a partner. And I think that's what breaks up a lot of business opportunities with partners, with partnerships, right? So let's move on. Sebastian, what happened next? You got your first property. Tell us about that story.
That was awesome because we put so many offers before we closed in our first property. So the first time that I placed an offer, I was like, oh my God, I can't believe I'm signing a check for $1,000 and stuff like that. I was so excited. And then nothing happened. I was like, oh, another offer, nothing happened. Another offer. So I start creating this, I don't know, fearless, like, oh, now I'm not scared to place an offer. Almost 9-10 months after, we finally got a property under contract. Their numbers made sense. And then we bought, this is also other interesting thing. I live in Boston, so the market here is really expensive. So I couldn't do much in this market. So I have to also learn how to do out-of-state investment. So my first door was out-of-state. It's in Philadelphia. And then we bought it. We found a great agent. We started building the team. We started talking, to the right people. And then one of these, our best agent at this point, he brought us an amazing deal. We bought super cheap, and that property, we bought it. Do you want me to go over the numbers?
Of course.
Yeah.
This is where Diego lights up.
We bought it for $67,000. It's a single family house, and we rented we only put 15% down, and we rented for $950 up to today.
Ooh.
So
wow.
We cash flow per property around $400 to $500 per door. Nice. And if you go to Section A, it's different, which is something else that I learned, and we are learning because there's a lot of things to learn. But the first deal gave me that, I don't know, that affirmation that, hey, it's possible. Like, you can do this. It wasn't that scary. It wasn't that difficult. It was doable. You just need to keep trying and trying and trying. So that property today appreciate for 110 probably, and it's only been a year and a half, almost 2 years. So that was an amazing home run. It's our best property at this point. We're looking to refinance now the property and pull some money out. But we had a great tenant. We learned how to screen tenants. So this first property was like the door, that opened, to the infinity future. Like, it's amazing.
Yeah, that's awesome. And so what does your portfolio look like now?
We have 4 doors there in Philly. We are going to close one soon. We got an offer accepted last Friday. That's in terms of my rentals. He has more under his name. I'm excited because today I also, I'm going to go and do the photo shoot for a short-term rental that we're going to list it at the end of this month. And that's another deal that came out of zero, out of my pocket. One of my really good clients from the bank, she always heard and listened to me talking about real estate. We had coffee every day. It was super nice. And at some point she called me and she said, like, hey, I have some money. I'm thinking to buy this property and do real Airbnb. Do you want to help me? And I'm like, absolutely. I'll do everything for you. So I've been working in this deal for so long. But we finally probably gonna list it this month. So today at 2, I have the photo shooting. So that's also excited. I'm gonna add a short-term rental into my portfolio, which I'm gonna host. It's not mine, but I'm gonna host it. And yeah, that's it. I have a property under contract and a short-term rental in 4 doors. That's me.
That's
Sebastian.
awesome.
That's powerful, bro. I feel like your confidence needs to be so much higher. I'm so excited for you. Now, really quick, how long have you been doing real estate investing? 2 years now?
Nah, not even. Yeah, almost 2 years.
Almost 2 years. Okay. It took me 4.5 years to reach financial independence. And then from there, it took off. But it took me 4.5 years to get there. A lot of people think this happens overnight. They're like, oh, you should be able to reach 5 in a year. And it's like, no, absolutely not. In fact, I would rather it take longer because of the lessons that I learned along the way are lessons that I literally, Sebastian, still use to this day. So it's powerful that you're growing. Like, I get weary, Sebastian, when I see people that are like, "Oh, I'm financially free in a year and I became a millionaire the year next." I'm like, I want to see what you look like 6-7 years down the road. Like, that's where I really want to see where people are at. So I'm excited at the way that you're growing, the way you're creating partnerships. Because, okay, let's say, yeah, you bought 4 doors with one partner, but eventually you're going to be buying 50 doors with one partner as a syndication deal or something. As you continue to scale and grow, you're going to grow your Airbnb business. And like doing that, think about it this way. Also, you came to this country 7 years ago. And you're owner of 4 properties plus co-owner of an Airbnb already. Like, I can't imagine, the sky's the limit for where you're going. Like, you don't have a stopping point. Literally, you're at your beginning. And I want you to know that, because it's powerful what you're creating, and also the impact that you're having for other people that are going to be listening to this. They're like, whoa, like, he only came here 7 years ago, only learned English very recently, and now owns 4 and is managing 1 Airbnb. And you're going to be able to continue to scale that, dude. Like, that's huge. That's powerful.
Yes. And many times I still make a bunch of mistakes when I talk to people, or when I don't understand what they say, when they have a fake accent. I'm like, what? I'm sorry.
Dude, don't talk to Southern folk, because then it's going to be over. I'm here in the South. You're not going to understand what they're saying.
Yeah, but that was really nice. And I actually ended up helping these people. I was so I don't know how do you say grateful for this. English for New Bostonians is the name of the non-profit organization, that they put the time to teach me and to take me to, walk me through the process to be a banker and everything. So I ended up helping them in the non-profit organization. And last year I was a board member. And what I used to do is I used to go to like places, and say, hey, this is me, this is my story. You immigrant, you can do it too. Look, I did it. It's not as perfect as everyone thinks, but you can make it happen. And through that, it's a part of the real estate, a part of the money that you can make. It's like when you see that someone said, like, if this guy could do it, I can do it too. And I've been a dishwasher for 5 years and I'm not seeing growth. Like, go and try to be uncomfortable, as you always say. Be uncomfortable. Try to make your goal to be a server. So you're gonna start speaking, and I think that all of that pays way more than any type of business money that I can create.
What you said earlier, Sebastian, about the lady that you're co-hosting now with an Airbnb. It sounds like it's basically an Airbnb arbitrage, or you're partnering with her and doing it. But what I like about this story also is that you used your unfair advantage to your advantage, right? And I'll let Diego talk a little bit more about the unfair advantage, but you were at the bank and you just built a natural relationship with people, but you always talked about your goal and what you want to do with real estate. And an opportunity came out of that. When a lot of people know this story, but Sebastian, you were in the bank. I was on the construction site. And I thought that knowing plumbers, handymen, contractors, painters, like, I thought that was a disadvantage. Knowing what I know now, I know that it's an advantage, right? So like, you used what you might have thought a disadvantage is by being in the bank to your advantage now, and you're growing and building those relationships.
Yeah. And it's really important to know too, that you were able to have the conversations so that when other people are ready, they know that you know about the market, that you're already taking action on the real estate side, so that your advantage becomes your knowledge, right? Where other people may have the money. Maybe at some point you didn't have the money or the opportunity to qualify and be bankable or whatever. But she's like, look, I want you to help me because you have something that I don't have. And that is what becomes your unfair advantage. And understand that your unfair advantage too can be different depending on the partner, right? Because let's say that somebody else might be like, hey, or like in a year, maybe you have a little bit more money, and then you're able to partner up with somebody else that has the knowledge on another market. And then you can partner up, but use your unfair advantage in a different way. So it's very important to understand that. And I'm really happy that by you talking about it you create more opportunities. The same thing happened with me at GM years ago, was that I became, even though I was writing software and doing IT, I became known as like the realtor for them. And it was just, that became my unfair advantage. It's like I knew that all the young people were going to buy houses at some point. So I became the knowledgeable guy, and then boom, I was able to help them out. So Sebastian, it's really cool to see that, how you've been able to progress, and there are going to be more opportunities that are going to come up. But you mentioned something earlier, that you said that you quit your job recently.
Yes.
I have two questions. What was that decision? Like, what caused you, number one, to decide on that? And what's happening for you next?
Great question. It took me time to make the decision, but I don't know if it's probably, I'm thinking that I could make this faster enough, or I don't know. I believe in myself. So I say, if I did this with a W-2, having a normal life and everything, in a year and a half, imagine what I can do if I do this full time, right? So I had the opportunity, like I said, I had my baby and I had paternity leave time. And also at that time, the bank was in a merge with the other bank, but the previous bank that I worked. So they offered me, do you want to come back and work after, or you want a severance package? And I was like, I think I don't know, many people could have said like, oh my God, what is going to happen to me in my life and blah, blah. I was like, this is the opportunity, the push that I was always waiting for. Like I always, in the bank before, I had people, clients that work in the real estate work, and they always told me, you have to have enough money to survive for 6 months. And I'm like, okay, I don't have that now. But when this opportunity came, I'm like, okay, I have some capital that I can save. I can survive for 6 months. You know what? I'm going to take the leap of faith, and I'm going to go and do it. So that's what I did.
What's the plan, Sebastian? What's the plan? What do you want to do?
The plan now, I'm wholesaling. So I started wholesaling recently. Well, it's been a few months, 3 months at this point. Haven't closed a deal yet, but I put a few properties under contract. I'm learning a lot. It's not something that you say success doesn't happen like that.
It took me 3 or 4, 120,
4 months,
109 days, I think, to do my first wholesale deal. I think that's what it took me.
So I've been redefining the strategy and working more towards, like, I made a connection through you guys with a friend in Connecticut. So we're working with foreclosures. I was door knocking. I'm still hustling, man. That's what I like, and that's what's gonna happen this year. I'm gonna work and dedicate my whole time to this and my family. Of course, that's my priority number one. That's what's gonna happen now.
Man, you look
That's
so
cool.
happy, and I'm so proud of you for making the jump.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's huge, dude.
It's really important. And here's the thing. What they told you about the 6 months is the same thing that I tell everybody, especially on the realtor side. I tell them, look, just because everybody gets excited and everybody's like, dude, Diego, I want to be just like you. I want to close properties, this and that, help the families. Yeah. And I always tell them, look, you can get to that. You can get to the point where you have 10 homes under contract as a realtor, or 20, whatever. But just know this, the first 6 months, you're probably not going to make any money. So in month 2, when they're like, Diego, dude, like I really need a deal or this or that. I'm still looking for clients. I'm like, why did I tell you? It's 6 months. You're only 2 months in and I told you 6. So I'm like, just trust the process. Keep on doing what you're doing, because the work that we put in now, for example, let's say that you are cold calling, right? To find your wholesale deals. It will take time to follow up. So let's say 2 weeks, 3 weeks, whatever. Then you get it under contract. Then you have another month to sell the property and all of that. And on the realtor side, it's even longer because you have to find the client. Then you show them the homes, and they might even say, hey, I'm looking to move in 2 months. So then the work that you put in today, you start showing homes in 2 months. Then you close 30 days later, and then you get paid. So it does take a little bit of time, and patience is key. And that is the reason why people quit real estate, whether you're doing wholesaler or realtor. I feel like the patience is the thing that sets other people apart.
Sebastian, what kept you going when you were learning English? Couple sentences. What kept you going?
I don't know. My family, like I said.
Okay. What kept you going when you were moving up the ranks in the banking industry? Like, what motivated you to be successful?
I don't know, being a successful immigrant or being like a role model for someone.
Okay. Those two same answers need to be why you're going to be successful this year in business and real estate. Take those same whys and now add your kid. And that's why you're going to continue to be successful, because you're not going to give up. Like in the very beginning, when you're learning English, you were putting your head down, you were listening, you threw your headphones on, you didn't listen to the noise, and you kept going. When you got to the banking industry, you started making connections, you were telling everybody, you knew when to pick your head up and finally talk to people. Use the lessons that you've learned so far, and that is the exact word for word, pencil by pencil, dynamic strategy, whatever, to be successful in real estate. Exactly what you're doing there now. Put your head down, grind. Lift your head up when you know it's time to talk and network and do those things.
Yes.
It's gonna be great. I can't wait to interview in a year and you're doing more deals than ever. You'll be closing 2-3 wholesale deals a month. It took me all last year, Sebastian, all I made was $70,000 in wholesaling. No, that's a lie. 89,000 something thousand, like under 90 grand last year is what we made wholesaling. And I went to 3 events. I met with Gonzalo, and I started a team with me and Adam, and we made about 90,000 last year, a little bit less. So it took me a whole year. And then this year we've already made more than 6 figures in less than 3 months. But it's because last year we put our head down and learned. Does that make sense? Kind of like when you're learning English. And then this year we've picked our head up and just hit the ground going.
Yes, that's true.
And you've executed on you have built those habits already. Yes. That momentum gets to catch up on. And that's the momentum that you begin to actually see the results.
Sebastian, you want to know my why? My why is because Diego said I couldn't make it as a realtor.
Yeah. He could not make it as a realtor.
So I said I would be a wholesaler.
Yeah.
You want to know something funny? I heard someone telling me sometime at some point, you will never make $100,000. And I'm like, really? Those things motivate me a lot. And I'm like, challenge me and I will do it.
Have you done your taxes this year?
I have, yes.
What'd you make?
Yesterday. I made $105,000 last year.
Let's go.
Yeah, buddy. Yeah,
you crossed 6 figures in less than 7 years of coming to this country.
Yes.
Do you still have that client or whoever that was his information? You should send him a screenshot of your taxes. Diego actually went viral a couple years back where he posted a picture back when like the whole DACA thing was a big thing in the news. Diego posted a picture on his Facebook, I think it was, that he paid like, Diego, you know this story obviously better than I do. What was it?
Yeah. So I paid I paid $28,000 in taxes. The reality was 32, but that was just like the last thing. So I shared a picture of that, of how I was able to pay taxes at that amount, and I was 27, 26 years old. And just sharing like, look, I've been able to accomplish all this. I have 8 properties at the time. I employ Americans, even though I'm a DACA recipient and undocumented. And that post went viral because that was when the Trump administration was trying to remove DACA. And they say that they were removing DACA because we're taking away jobs. And I was like, no, like you're not going to
I'm literally giving jobs and paying taxes. And Sebastian just did the same thing. Sebastian, you made 6 figures. And that's powerful, dude. You're making 6 figures. You have four doors closing on your 5th here soon, or taking the pictures for the Airbnb, and you've started wholesaling. Overnight success looks like 5 years worth of work, right? A lot of entrepreneurs say that, and overnight success looks like 5 years of work. And that's, what are you, year 2? What did you say? You're a real estate year 2? It's like, dude, it's going to be amazing. So Sebastian, what's in the future for you? What are your goals for 2022 before we wrap this up?
My goal for this year is I'm gonna create or generate $500,000, whether it's in revenue or appreciation. So
Let's go.
I'm gonna do my best to reach that. I made a commitment in front of you guys and in front of a bunch of people, and I had that idea every day in my mind, so that's gonna happen.
Yeah.
I'm gonna work really heavily in the learning as much as I can in the wholesaling. I'm working really close with the REI call center. I'm working really close with you guys, and I honestly take the time to tell you thank you for your stories, and because you motivate me, and that honestly changed my mind in my life. I was not doing this 2, 3, 5 years ago, even though I was, doing a lot. I learned real estate through you guys. So my goal is to continue doing my wholesaling, organizing my Airbnb, taking care of my rentals, and I don't know, keep learning.
That's good, dude. That's good. And 2022 is going to be amazing. So I'm excited for you.
Yeah. I can't wait to go to the
Sebastian.
conference and tell you I did this.
Oh, of course, bro. That's gonna be on deck. I can't wait to see that. Sebastian, where can people find out more about you? How can people resonate with you? How can people connect with you? There's gonna be a lot of people that listen to the show that are DACA or immigrant to this country that just want to learn. Where can people find you?
My Instagram is sebasromy09. And people can email me. My email is sebasrodriguez@outlook.com, which is Sebas, but nobody call me Sebas. That's where people can reach out to me. I'm always happy to help, as I try to help as much as I can from my banker perspective, in terms of investments or what to do, how to pull the money out, how to do HELOCs, how to do refinance. So I love those conversations, so people can reach out to me all the time. I love to help.
Yeah, and you've been a huge asset to a lot of people within the Rat Race community too, because I know a lot of them have reached out to you about lines of credit, HELOCs. You're giving a presentation on it multiple times, I think. So thank you very much also for providing that value to the Rat Race community. So I'm excited. So we will be in touch, Sebastian.
See you, buddy.
Take care.
Thank you, guys.
The Rat Race to 5 podcast, where we discuss money, mindset, real estate investing, and ways to achieve financial independence. Whether you are a rookie or a veteran needing new ideas for investing or creating side hustles, you're in the right place.